What is up, everyone? Zach here, bringing you a Team Taste tournament report. You want taste? Today we have my tournament report from the North America International Championship. I think that's the official title. Whatever. Um, I got a top 64. It was exactly what I needed to secure my Worlds invite. So now I'm sitting at 518 points. Gonna go to Anaheim. Really excited. But we'll just get right to it. The deck got the 3 Booloos, 3/2/3 Vikavolt. Had the 1 Tapu Koko, came in real clutch. 3 Lele's, would never cut down past the 3. Pretty standard deck list. I decided to include 2 Fighting Fury Belts to help with the Zoroark match, and it really helped throughout the day against just so much random stuff. 2 Heavy Balls, get out the Vikavolts consistently. 3 Candies, yada yada yada. Skyla, Bridget, Olympia. Looking back, I probably would have tried to fit in a 3rd blower, maybe for the Choice Band or Heavy Ball. Maybe drop the Brox for the Energy Recycler. Most of the time it seemed like I just couldn't waste the turn with Brox, but I still needed the energy back. Pretty standard. Did what it did. Sometimes it just bricks because Stage 2 decks kind of just suck sometimes. But we'll get right to the tournament report. First round, I go up against Mark McDonald, my teammate and fellow roommate for the weekend. So it was really unfortunate that we got paired up so early, even with like 1,400 players. But that's life sometimes. And he proceeds to 2-0 me, just rolls me over with Espeon Drampa Garb. And like I drew game 1, the game 2 I couldn't get the Garbotoxin not active. So start off the day at 0-1, not feeling so hot after that. Round 2 played against Steven Burks playing Espeon Garb, which was a real close series. The match is pretty 50-50. If I can hit my choice bands at the right time to knock out the Espeons and flip the heads on the confusion, it can go my way. But it was what was it? 1 game to 1 game. Game 3 came down to a confusion flip. If I hit heads, I knocked him out, won the game. If I hit tails, he could return the knockout, and I really had nothing else going on. And I hit the heads and won the game, so got a little lucky there, but we take those. Round 3, played against Brandon Salazar, playing Zoroark Drampa, and this was really the first time playing against the deck with this build, so I'm like, okay, gotta use the Fury Belts, gotta find out if they're even playing a Field Blower. Game 1, I just kind of got turn 2 Vikavolt and kind of just ran him over. Got the early Tapu Bulu out, and I didn't even have to play my Fighting Fury Belts. I actually hid them in my deck the whole game. But he hit his Field Blower, so I still had no idea if he had one. Game 2, he kind of just rolls over me and I dead draw and lose. Vikabulu doing Vikabulu things. Then game 3, he like sycamores away his Field Blower turn 1, and I'm like, okay, sweet. And then I end up attaching a Fighting Fury Belt and pretty much shocking him, like, oh, great, now I have no reason or no way to one-shot the Tapu Bulu. And it kind of swung the tides into my favor. And it actually came down to I had 2 prizes left, and I was turn 3 in time. And he gave me, I think it was like an Oranguru and passed, knowing that I had to get the Lysander from an end to 1. And I top decked the Lysander for game. So sometimes, the luck just keeps on going. Round 4, I played against Adreno Kanazawa. Really bad names, but he was from Brazil, I think. Playing Zoroark Drampa and friends like with a 2/2 Garb and Rainbow Energies. It's a pretty neat build. And I think I end up 2-0. He drew really poorly both games, and it just kind of was us passing back and forth until I kind of just won. But nothing that eventful. Round 5, played against Trainer Chip playing Mega Ray, which is a really scary matchup because if they can hit what they need and like Hex turn 2, 3, 4, I just can't set up with my Vikavolts, and then they can Lysander the Vikavolts and take them out. So they have a lot of ways to win the matchup, and he It actually came down close game one. He had, I think I ended him to 3, and he used his only VS Seeker to hex me that turn and take a knockout, and I still ended up returning a knockout, and he didn't have any Mega Rays set up, so I ended up starting coming back, got down to 1 prize, and he eventually drew out of it, I think with a Sky Return, and I couldn't end him back down to 1. So he ended up taking that game. The game 2, it was somewhat close, but he got there again with Hex, so I got 2-0'd. And then at that point, I was 3-2, and for me to get my Worlds invite, I needed to get day 2, top 64, 110 points. Top 128 would have left me 2 points short. Would have left me at 498, so knew I needed to win out from here. Then round 6, I played Tim O'Connell. He was playing this Rainbow Road with like a Tauros heavy kind of like thing going. Game 1, I actually he attached a Fairy Energy to Tauros and passed, and I'm like, okay. I started grubbing. I drew, and then just passed. I literally had nothing in my hand. I think I had like a couple rare candies, a VS Seeker, and just nothing going on. And he attaches a Fighting Fury Belt, attaches an energy, and Horn attacks me for the game. So I'm like, okay, see how this is gonna go. And then game 2 and 3, I kind of just got turn 2 Vikavolt and ran over the Tauroses. I never hit the Tauroses to leave me in a position to where it could Mad Bull. And yep, so we took that series. And then round 7, played against Juan Santiago, playing Zoroark Trampa. So my 3rd Zoroark Trampa on the day. And it came real close. I think I ended up winning like right before time was called. But game 3, I just had everything I needed. Had the turn 2 Vikavolt, had everything going for me, and he just couldn't really get going. So won that one. Round 8, played against Joe Bernard of Omnipoke. That was fun. He was playing a Xerneas break deck with a couple Regirock promos and EXP shares to slap onto it. And that series was probably the best I've drawn the whole tournament. I got turn 2 Vikavolt out every game. One game I got like 2 Vikavolts out turn 2. And game 1 I hid the Fighting Fury Belts. I don't think he played any Field Bowler anyways. But I just couldn't get to the Fury Belts game 1. So game 2 I slapped one down and he's like, oh boy. Because the Tapu Bulu hits 130, the Xerneas. So he was kind of not playing around that. And I don't know if there was a way to play around it. But it worked out, so I can one-shot the Xerneas without having to discard my energy or use my GX attack. I won a close game 1. He couldn't get an EXP share down game 1. Game 2, he had got an early XP share, hit his elixirs, and started one-shotting my Bulus like turn 3 or something like that. It was pretty good. And then game 3, it came down real close where he missed an elixir and attacked my Bulu for 210, thinking he had knockout, but it was 10 short. Ended up just winning after that. He didn't really have much going on after that, so real close series. Whoops, one of my favorite opponents of the day. It's pretty fun. So now going into round 9, I'm 6-2. If I win, I get my invite and into day 2. And I look at my pairings and I get Xander, Bennett, and I'm like, oh man. I was talking to him earlier in the day and he's playing Mega Ray, so I'm like, another Mega Ray, my day is probably over. So we were talking and he's like, oh, I don't even know how to play this matchup. I'm like, okay, so there's maybe a chance. And then game 1, he knocks me out. And like I still had turn 2 Vikavolt. He didn't get the Hex. So I played down my Tapu Koko promo and strong charge to him. And then I had hit a Lightning Energy and a Fury Belt or a Choice Band. Still did knock out on the Mega Ray. And he was sitting there trying to get his damage ready for Flying Flip. And I'm like, don't really need those. And Sycamore hit the Lightning Energy, Fighting Fury Belt, and hit the Mega Ray for 220, exactly perfect knockout. And then he didn't have any other Mega Rays set up, so he started digging, trying to set one up, and he eventually set one up with like playing multiple Shamans and like a Sycamore. and like ended up knocking out my Tapu Koko. But then I responded right back with, I think, a Vikavolt knockout and putting me in a great position. And then he's like, oh, man, I had a double colorless into Lele. I could have just Lele'd for my Kookie and played Kookie and knocked out the Koko. And then I would have had no way of responding the KO on the Lele. So that misplayed kind of just cost him the game. I ended up taking game 1. Game 2, he gets a pretty slow start. He ends up having like 2 Hoopas prized. It was pretty lucky on my part, and I ended up just getting turn 2 Vikavolt and kind of just rolling over. I think I took like 2 Shaman knockouts that game. So played it exactly how I had to. Like, I have to, against Mega Ray, I have to basically take a knockout with the Koko, a knockout with the Vikavolt, and then a knockout with the Bulu. It's kind of how it has to go, or something along those lines. So yeah, I ended up winning that, making my 7-2 day 1, going into day 2. And I was not confident in my deck at all. There were so many games where I just dead drew, and then like one game I'd dead draw, the next game I'd just have everything I needed, like turn 2 2 Vikavolts, and then the next game I just dead draw. So it wasn't very happy with my deck, but it got me where I needed to be. I was just so ecstatic. This is my first full season, so getting that Worlds invite just meant so much. And then day 2 happened, and it was not very good. Let's see. Round 1 of day 2 went up against Benjamin Barons, Pokemon mentor, really cool guy. He's from Norway, but he's moving over to the States for this year, going to play over here. Pretty cool. He was playing Espeon Garb, and I just kind of get 2-0'd and just didn't really have anything going on for me. I think I took game 2, but it wasn't very good on my end. So he just kind of runs over me. Round 2, I'm against Nick Robinson playing Zoroark Drampa, and I end up taking that match. He drew really poorly the 2 games that I won, and the one game was one of the worst games I've ever played. No, it was like I drew attached to Bulu and Horn attacked, and he drew Moonless Madness, and I drew, and he also had 2 Zoras prized, so it just wasn't his day for that game. And then so I won that one, and I know I need to win out to make top 8, but my goal at this point, I'm like, okay, if I win 2 more I can make top 32. Then round 3 I played against Tristan Makic. Oop, my bad. Playing Espeon Garb, and this one was a really hurtful one. I missed the... I could have Field Blowered off my Float Zone that was on my Bulu, and then I could have Choice Banded him and one-shot the Espeon for game 3, but I misplayed, cost me the game. Yep. That was really upsetting, but it happens. And then round 4, played against Hunter Harless, playing Decidueye Ninetales, and that was another close 3-game series where he just squeaked out. I think I ran out of energies game 3 and couldn't get him back. So he ended up taking that series. Round 14 against Patrick, one of the Michigan State guys. We actually played this match out at a League Cup a couple weeks before, and I won in top 8, and he took a game 1, and then game 2 he just couldn't get going, and same thing kind of happened game 3, and I just kind of won with my Tapu Koko. There was one game where I think I took 4 prizes with Tapu Koko. I think he had 2 Shamans, 2 Lele's prized one game. Not very good for him. And then the last round of the day, round 6, went up against Simon Narode. And at this point, it was the winner got top 32, and he kind of just 2-0'd me. He was getting turned to Garbatoxin, and I couldn't find my Field Blowers. So the day ended there. I ended up 46th place, I think. So top 64, got my 110 points, $500, and half a box that I think I opened. A Como-O and a full art Como. It was really good. And a Turninator, I think. But yep, that's about it. Now we're going to start testing heavily for Worlds. It's going to be pretty intense. We're going to get all the games up. I'm really liking Mega Guard. Could be interesting, maybe not good, but interesting. But yeah, so that's about it. New videos out this week, whole bunch of them. Sorry for the lack of content. We were really trying to get ready for international, so, and this deck wasn't even on my radar to play. Like, I was playing it at League Cup, so I'm like, oh, there's no way I can play this in a big tournament like that. And then the day before, my buddy wanted to test against it, and I'm like, okay. And I was just rolling and made a couple changes. It just felt better and ended up rolling with it. So no regrets. I loved it. This was the perfect deck to make day 2, I think. But remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really helps me out. Later, guys.